Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we are wading into a pretty sensitive topic. It's something that impacts just about every relationship, but very few people talk about it with the kind of honesty that actually, leads to solutions. We're talking about maintaining fidelity in the modern world. And just to be clear, we are not here for feel-good generalizations, no empty cliches. Our mission today is to pull out the actionable, sometimes counterintuitive, and definitely surprising insights from our sources. We want to give you real, practical strategies for keeping your partnership strong.
And we can jump right in because the sources immediately highlight this fundamental crack in the foundation. Infidelity, or that whole process, the love triangle, doesn't just happen overnight. It's a slow burn. It takes time. And it always fundamentally begins with one thing.
Unmet needs.
Unmet needs. That sounds so simple, though. Like something you should be able to fix right away. But the reality is these needs can stay unmet for years. So why? Why do people let things fester until it's a total crisis? Well, the sources are absolutely relentless on this point. They point the finger at one single culprit, a critical lack of communication.
Right.
People just stop talking about the hard stuff. They stop turning to each other for support or validation or even just for information. And those emotional gaps, they just get wider and wider because people are afraid, afraid to bring the issue up.
Okay, so let's unpack that immediately. Because communication is what the material calls the best way to prevent infidelity. But it's also the hardest thing to do, right? Especially when you're already feeling hurt or distant.
That difficulty is precisely why relationships get into trouble.
Please like, subscribe, and leave a comment. You are doing important work.
The sources describe the common pitfalls perfectly. You might feel your partner pulling away or you sense some resentment, but instead of saying something, you just stay silent. You hope they'll just figure it out on their own.
Which never, ever works.
Never. It's a strategy that is guaranteed to fail.
And sometimes it's worse than silence. The material talks about this destructive response where partners start withdrawing too. It's like this passive-aggressive thing where you think, okay, if they're pulling away, I'll pull away too.
Yeah.
To punish them, I guess.
Yes.
It's a total relational death spiral.
It is. And that whole dance is compounded by emotional suppression. We suppress our concerns out of fear. Fear of fight, fear of rejection, or just fear that our concerns will be seen as too much. But the core insight here is that this habit has to change. You have to treat the relationship like an active system that needs maintenance. If you see your partner's behavior change or something just feels off, you need to treat it like an urgent repair.
It's almost like a professional urgency. Like if you were at work and a huge report had errors, you wouldn't just ignore it. You'd jump on it immediately. And that's the same level of dedication we need for our most important relationship.
Exactly. And the cost of failure is so much higher. But the real obstacle is how. How do you start that conversation without it just, exploding into a fight?
Because that's what happens, right? You're trying to talk, and your partner gets defensive or shuts down or turns it back on you. So what's the actionable advice here? How do you actually do it?
The recommendation is very clear. Sit down and have a calm conversation, a neutral emotional tone. But here's the part that really resets expectations, and this is critical for you to hear. Be prepared for persistence. It may take up to 10 attempts to get a real productive discussion going.
10 attempts. Wow, that totally resets the bar, doesn't it? It's not about one failed chat. It's a campaign. But why 10? What is derailing the first 9 attempts?
Self-protection. That's what's derailing them. The first time you bring it up, your partner hears an accusation. They don't hear a request for connection. They're reacting to old baggage, or they're just terrified of conflict. So those first few tries are really just about piercing that armor, about showing you're coming from a place of love, not judgment. You have to keep showing up calmly until they believe you're not trying to score points. You're trying to save the relationship.
That makes so much sense. The persistence is the proof that you're serious. And once you finally get that door open, maybe on that 10th try, the sources give us the simplest but most powerful question. It just reframes the entire thing. How can I fulfill your needs?
That one question is transformative. It shifts the focus instantly from blame to collaboration. It says, I see a gap here and I am willing to put in the work to fill it. And if that communication fails, well, then all the other strategies we're about to discuss become basically impossible.
Right. So if section 1 is about stopping the bleed from bad communication, section 2 is about what? The slow death, the erosion from routine. How do we keep the relationship from flatlining once we actually start talking again?
That brings us straight to strategy 1, actively fighting boredom. You have to make time for romance. And the sources are very specific. Go on dates. Bring back that spark from the beginning.
And this is where it gets really interesting. It's not just about going out for dinner. It's the preparation. The sources stress putting in the effort to impress, just like you did in the early days. It's about admiration, not just, sitting in the same room staring at your phones.
And scheduling actual romantic breaks.
Hmm.
This is so important, especially when life is demanding kids, careers, stress. You have to block out a specific day or an evening just for the two of you. It's time to, as the source says, breathe each other in. To recharge, you're operationalizing romance.
And speaking of operational details, there's this one instruction that really sticks with you. It's about your homeware.
Oh.
Avoid the old robes, the stained t-shirts, the worn-out pajamas. The rule is simple. Your homeware should be neat, clean, and pleasant smelling. Stay attractive for each other, even behind closed doors.
At first, that might seem a little superficial, right?
A little, yeah.
But psychologically, it's not just about looking sexy. It's about respect for your partner and for the relationship itself. If you only put effort in for the outside world, you're sending a signal that your partner isn't important enough for that basic effort.
It's a baseline expectation that reflects respect for the bond. And with that, the sources say, give small gifts, plan little surprises. Nothing big or expensive, just small acts of thought to fight that monotony.
Which is a perfect lead-in to strategy 4, learn to be friends. See, monotony kills connection, but friendship, that provides resilience. A great relationship has to be built on a strong friendship. Support, listening, and this is crucial, knowing how to laugh together. Here is the emotional lubricant that makes all the maintenance worthwhile.
Okay, now for strategy 2, which is maybe the most practical one. It's about discussing interests and the need for compromise. The source suggests making 3 lists. Things you have zero interest in, things you're neutral about, and things you absolutely love doing.
And this whole exercise is about stopping partners from expecting the other person to be their identical twin. It's not realistic. The negotiation really centers on that no interest column. Each partner should choose one single activity, their most important one, and ask for full involvement from the other. It's framed as an act of love, a small sacrifice.
That reframing is everything. It's not, you have to love all my hobbies. It's, I need you here for this one thing as a gift of love. And the source has that great example. Learning to ski for a weekend, even if you hate the cold, because your partner absolutely lives for it.
And it can't be a vague promise. You have to make a plan around it. You negotiate when, how often, for how long. It respects everyone's time and effort. Like a partner agrees to go shopping once a month for 4 hours, it's set. The commitment is honored.
But that idea, the one sacrifice activity, it feels kind of transactional. I mean, you're asking someone to do something they don't want to do. How do you stop that from building up resentment? How do you make sure it feels like a gift, not a chore?
That's precisely why the next instruction is so vital. For everything else in that no interest column, the advice is simple. Find other people. Friends, relatives, whoever, share those interests with them. You don't dump everything on your partner. The resentment is avoided because the demand is tiny. Just one activity. And it's balanced by total freedom in all the other areas.
So it's about knowing when to ask your partner to step up for that one sacrifice and when to just step back.
Exactly. Which, paradoxically, leads us straight into strategy 6. Do not try to control your partner's every move. You need sacrifice, but you also have to give freedom.
Okay, so what does that really mean? The common assumption is that control prevents infidelity, right?
Yeah.
If I monitor my partner, I prevent problems.
Which is completely false. The psychological reality is the more you try to hold on tightly, the more it slips away. Control breeds resentment, and resentment breeds dishonesty. You have to give your partner space for their hobbies, sure, but also for reset time, for their own identity.
Right. Time for their own interests, their own friends, male bonding, time with girlfriends, whatever it is. So what's the real danger of all the constant check-ins and calls?
It robs them of the emotional space they need to recharge and, critically, to miss you. The goal is simple, and it's so effective. Let them miss you. Let them look forward to rushing home because they're excited to see you. If you call every 5 minutes demanding updates, you're creating an obligation, not anticipation.
That feeling of anticipation, of being excited to come home, that's such a powerful glue in a relationship.
And that freedom, ironically, just reinforces the bond.
All right, let's shift one last time to the internal connection that makes all this possible. Strategy 3, work on building honesty and trust. And this comes down to true listening.
And defining listening here is so important. Most of us think we're listening, but we're really just waiting to speak or waiting to solve the problem. The sources are clear. Sometimes a partner talks not because they need advice, but just because they need to be heard. If they feel you aren't really listening, they'll stop turning to you. And that is a wide open door for unmet needs to be filled by someone else.
And the psychological cost of criticism is huge. A strong relationship means you can come home and share anything. A huge mistake at work, a petty annoyance, whatever. Without fear of hearing, you always do this, or you're being ridiculous. Trust is knowing your partner is a safe, non-judgmental harbor.
When you take away that safety net, you force them to find emotional refuge somewhere else. And that deep trust is the foundation for the final strategy, which is strategy 5. Bring variety into your intimate life.
Absolutely. Strategy 5 needs that vulnerability from strategy 3. The material insists on open, honest conversations about intimacy. What excites you? What new things do you want to try? What are you curious about?
This is often the hardest conversation to have, but curiosity and novelty are essential for long-term desire. And to make it less abstract, the source suggests something very specific, very actionable. It suggests watching reviews of sex toys together and just discussing which ones might be fun for both of you.
That is a fascinating suggestion, because it takes something that can feel secret or shameful and makes it a shared, collaborative project. It normalizes curiosity. It ensures those needs for novelty are being met inside the relationship as a shared adventure, not outside of it.
Exactly. That kind of openness ensures that partners feel comfortable bringing their whole selves home instead of hiding parts of themselves. It's really the final step in closing those gaps created by unmet needs.
So to synthesize all this for you, the listener, infidelity doesn't start with temptation. It starts with unmet needs and a failure to communicate them.
And the fix requires, well, active management. We're talking about scheduling dates, negotiating that one sacrifice activity, giving real freedom, and maintaining that deep, non-judgmental listening. It's about resolving problems, not wishing they'd go away.
It takes a massive continuous effort, doesn't it? Which leaves us with a final provocative thought for you to consider. If maintaining fidelity requires this much consistent, structured effort like fixing errors in a report or scheduling time to breathe each other in, does the modern relationship demand less spontaneous passion and more dedicated operational management?
Something to mull over this week as you review your own systems.
We'll leave you with that one. Thanks for diving in with us.
Please like, subscribe, and leave a comment. If you want to overcome betrayal, break toxic cycles, take control of your relationship choices, read How to Deal with a Love Triangle. The link is below the video.